Hey everybody. So this is gonna be another video where I'm just gonna show a scene from a movie, The Godfather. I'm assuming most of you out there have seen it or at least heard of it. And this is another great example of a TE versus FE type of interaction. And for my money, this is the best display of FE that I could think of in ever in a movie. Marlon Brando's, Vito Corleone character is just a case study in FE. If you're wondering what FE is all about, watch The Godfather. And in this scene, real quickly, it is a little spoilery, but if you haven't seen the movie, you'll survive if you just watch this part. Um, but I would recommend obviously watching the whole movie, especially if you're into personality types, because it's just a great exploration of different personality types and the clashes between them. And this scene is probably one of the best of them, where you have Vito Corleone, Marlon Brando's character, meeting with somebody who I'm going to argue is a pretty strong TE type of personality. I'm not really gonna guess what exactly they are, but probably like ENTJ, INTJ, that kind of strong TE where they sort of view everything in a through a TE lens. And well, just watch the interaction and just think of Brando or Corleone as viewing the world and thinking of the world through an FE lens, and the other guy, Sollozzo, thinking of the world through a TE lens. and yeah, let me just play it here.
There, Don Corleone. I need a man who has powerful friends. I need $1 million in cash. I need, Don Corleone, those politicians that you carry in your pocket, like so many nickels and dimes.
Okay, so that's a to me that's a very important line where he talks about carrying politicians around in his pocket like nickels and dimes, like they're things, like they're objects to be used at his disposal. A very, you know well, let's just say TE way of looking at things. So he's gonna get a lesson here. We'll see.
What is the interest for my family?
30%. In the first year, your rent should be $3, $4 million. And then it would go up.
Now, what is the interest for the Italian family?
Compounds. I'll take care of the Italians. Out of my share.
So I receive 30% political influence and legal protection. That's what you're telling me.
That's right.
Why do you come to me? Why do I deserve this generosity?
If you consider $1 million in cash, just finance. Salud.
Now, notice how Corleone's asking what's in it for me and my family. And the only response he has is the money, the 30% interest. And just sort of, I'm gonna go back and just watch Brando or Corleone's reaction to that, of just kind of like you're really not getting what I'm asking you here. What's in it for me, not just the money.
That's right.
Why do you come to me? Why do I deserve this generosity?
If you consider $1 million in cash, just finance. Salud. Corleone.
I said that I would see you because I heard that you were a serious man. You treated with respect. But I must say no to you. And I'll give you my reason. It's true. I have a lot of friends in politics, but they wouldn't be friendly very long if they knew my business was drugs instead of gambling, which they regard as a harmless vice. But drugs is a dirty business. It doesn't make any difference to me what a man does for a living, you understand? But your business is a little dangerous.
If you're worried about security for your million, the Italians will guarantee it.
Are you telling me that the Italians guarantee our investment?
I have a sentimental weakness for my children, and I spoil them, as you can see. They talk when they should listen. Anyway, Senor Sollozzo, my no is final. I wish to congratulate you on your new business. I know you do very well, and good luck to you. Especially since your interests don't conflict with mine. Thank you.
Okay, so there's so many layers of what's going on here through the FE lens, where Corleone is playing, I guess, so to speak, 4D chess here, right? He's thinking of several different layers of FE. First of all, he's just controlling the room. You know, the way that somebody with strong FE is going to control the room. You know, he's sort of moving people aside. He's doing that sort of Donald Trump kind of thing, controlling the room and controlling the conversation, until Sonny butts in. You know, that's a whole other thing. But in general, has command over the situation. He's also thinking of it from a long term perspective of his relationships with the cops and the politicians that protect him, right? That if he gets into the wrong business, they're no longer going to have the same relationship and he might lose that protection that he has right now. So another sort of FE planning type thing, right? The other thing is he's trying to control this new guy who's coming in and buddying up with his, so-called or his adversaries or his competitors or enemies, the other families. And so he's got to control that level too. And so he's doing his best to show the guy respect and, wish him well and say, hey, look, we don't overlap here. Our interests don't overlap. So you can do as much as you want and you'll be just fine. And good luck to you. Um, and he's also controlling the dynamics with his family and those who work for him and showing them because they all wanted to take the deal, and showing them hey, this is how to properly run everything. So it's a classic case. I mean, I love these mafia movies, especially the Godfather type movies, where it's very Machiavellian, it's very FE, it's very all about controlling the social relationships and the hierarchies. And when you hear about FE as being, the function that brings harmony to the group, you have to think about it through this lens. I mean, to some extent, that's true. But ultimately, what FE is doing is it's trying to control the social dynamics, right? It's trying to get people to do what you want them to do. And that's either by displaying your role in the hierarchy or acknowledging that other people have a higher role in the hierarchy, basically playing the political and social game, right? And yeah, 85% of the time building harmony among the group is the best way to go about getting what you want. Every once in a while you might have to do something that is, let's say, disharmonious. And in some level, this is, he's rejecting this guy's offer. Everybody in the room sort of knows what that means, and if you've seen the movie, you know where that this all leads to. But in Corleone's mind, he's got to play it the way he's always played it. He's got to do it he thinks in his own mind is the right thing from an FE perspective, maintaining the social order that he has built up and not just throwing it away because he wants to get into, some business just for the money, and you can tell he doesn't care about the money. You can see his facial reaction where the guy's offering 30% of whatever, and he doesn't care. And to him it's more about keeping the family and the business intact. And in his mind, that's about keeping the social order, not the, just trying to make a quick buck and and surviving that way. So it's an interesting balance. This scene to me is always, whenever I hear people talk about Effie being, the function that is supposed to lead to harmony or create harmony. Again, yeah, but there's an undercurrent here, right? Like everybody knows in that room that Sollozzo is going to walk out mad because he got rejected and he's not getting what he wants, and how that's probably going to lead to some disharmonious or conflict down the road. But in the here and now, Corleone tried to keep it harmonious, tried to keep everybody happy. He was polite, he was respectful. He didn't, you know, rock any boats or anything, so to speak. But the message was clear. Okay. So that's Effie. And, to the extent you want sort of a master class on understanding Effie, I would strongly recommend go back, watch The Godfather, watch all of these old mobster movies, Goodfellas, Bronx Tale, because they all have that Machiavellian, very classic Italian approach to the storytelling where the power comes from the social and political dynamics and not the strength that who's got the biggest gun and who's got the strongest muscles. It's all about who controls the social dynamics, and that's what makes these movies so fascinating. Another good another good example or sort of masterclass on FE is to watch Sammy the Bull Gravano's podcast. He was the guy who was John Gotti's right hand man, and then ended up flipping on him and turning him in. And but he's got a million of stories from the mob in the 70s and 80s. And again, it's all about social dynamics, following the order, and keeping the social structure, intact. That's sort of the primary um, rule, is to keep the institution intact, and everything else is supposed to flow from that. Okay, well, for those of you who haven't seen The Godfather, definitely go and watch it. It's definitely one of the best. And like I said, it's just a masterclass in FE. It really is. Both of the movies, the first one and the second one. So, all right, talk to everybody later. Have a good one.